Hi, it's Dia. Today I'm going to do something different. I was walking through Target the other day and I saw the good old fashioned box of Crayola crayons. Although I think they were 64 crayons when we were a kid. I couldn't wait to open them and just take a look at all the colors. So then that made me think I would love to see if I could, well, not that I could, but I would love to see what kind of results that I could get in um, I can't even say my book is fancy, but a coloring book that's not kid oriented. So I know you can color in like the really basic ones and it's really fun, but what I wanted to do was see the results that I could get in an adult coloring book. So let's go. First, I figured I would do the tomato test. These tomatoes are from my coloring book, Coloring Dreams, and they're colored with Prismacolors, Arteza, and I think the other one was either Guanghui or Polychromos. But the point is that they're all done in nice colored pencils. So I want to see if I can color this tomato and have it come anywhere close. So let's get started. I'm interested in the colors too. This is just good old yellow like it was back in the day. I have to say there's something really nice about just coloring with crayons like we used to as a kid. The other nice thing is that it covers so much of an area so fast. So this is what I would have done with the colored pencils. I would have colored this area in a yellow or possibly even an orange. Now let's move to an orange. This one is Macaroni and Cheese. Okay, I'm going to speed this up a little. So I got the first and second layer down, and it's the ultimate in wax buildup. The next layer I put down was red orange, and I could feel already that it's shiny and glossy. And as you can see, there's lots of fallout, unlike colored pencils. And what was that one? That was either scarlet or macaroni and cheese again. Nope, scarlet or red orange. And it's interesting because some of the colors go on very gritty and some of them go on very smooth. That was a smoother one, so I was trying to color in more of the area. You can see right above the other tomato below it, I had used, I think it was brick red, and it was really, really crumbly and not great. So I went over this again with several reds and oranges. Then I thought I would give it some dimension. That was yellow-green, and it was very light and not showing very much, but it did help blend it a bit. That's Sepia, and then more macaroni and cheese. And as much as I kept blending, I couldn't quite get it to look like the colored pencil images. I think I had in my head that I would be able to get it a little smoother than this. I don't think it's horrible. I think I had a really good time doing it, but it wasn't as easy as I thought. Oh, that's my dog barking. Speed it up. Now I took the blender and I thought I would see if it would blend any better. And I have to say it did smooth it out, and it did take off some of that waxy buildup. And it looks better. It looks a little bit dull, just like when you blend with anything. So I went over again with some of the same colors, and it wasn't going on smooth. So I kept trying and trying. So there's the finished product. Definitely not perfect, but not bad for a $5 box of 96 Crayola crayons. And now onto an entire picture. I took, what was that? Inchworm. And just jumped right in. I wanted to see if I could make those water droplets look legit too. I had a feeling I was going to have a bit of a problem with that, but they didn't come out as bad as I thought. So I put a little bit of, okay, what was that one? Oh, it was just green on the other side. And I think I had it in my head that I was just going to be able to do one layer, but that's not the way it came out. I ended up doing several layers and even using the back of the crayon sometimes to get that real sharp edge, because the sharpener is not the best in the world. I kind of remember when I was a kid you could sharpen it to a pretty good point. Now it just recreates the point that the crayons come with. You know, there's that odd little ledge. I'll show you later. To do the water droplets, there's already a shaded area on the inside of the circle and a shaded area on the opposite side of the outside of the circle. And if you take a slightly darker crayon and color those areas in, getting lighter as you move away from the edges, it looks pretty realistic. Okay, here I started using the back of the crayon, like I said before, but the very sharp edge to make very thin lines for details on those leaves. And I ended up doing it quite a bit. I also ended up kind of changing the way I was doing it. I was filling it in with dark first, and I realized very quickly that it's pretty hard to go over it with any other kind of colors. So later on, I put the darker shades first. It was almost like watercolor. You have to be very aware of light and shadow. So for the next bit, the next little bit, I was just filling in these leaves in the background. So as I'm coloring and you're listening and watching, I have a question for you and a little story. When I was young, I was in school and we got easel time. And I remember I waited and waited, and it's all I wanted. I was in kindergarten. And I was so hyper-focused that everything sort of seemed like it didn't matter. Not that I was unhappy, but I so wanted to do that. So finally, I get my easel time. So I go up, and they had paint. Remember, they were in those like little tubs and like the nice big brush. And I drew a girl standing in the rain. I don't know why one arm was up, one arm was down, but I remember it so clearly because of what happened. And I made all the raindrops different colors. And I was thrilled with this picture. And the teacher said, "That's unrealistic." And I really didn't know what that meant. And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Raindrops aren't all different colors. Why don't you do it over?" And I remember being a little crushed. And 2 seconds, that's me trying to sharpen. Didn't do the best job. So anyway, I had a couple of other art teachers through the years that were the same way. If it wasn't the way they thought it should be, it wasn't good. So I guess my long story is I just want everybody to color and do like whatever they like to do. If you're watching something and it doesn't suit you, it's fine. Just do what makes you happy. It's coloring. Okay, this is the area that I was talking about before. I put the darker color down first and then I went over it with green yellow. And in my opinion, gave a really cool effect. And that was probably my favorite leaf. And I kind of wished that I had done it that way from the beginning because it gave nice dimension and it was a bit easier too. So now to the question. Do you think the teacher did the right thing? Should she have said what she said? Or was I being a little too sensitive? Or should that have been left? Now I'm using the back of the crayon again to get some more detail. It felt like the more detail that I added, as usual, you probably feel the same way, the better the image looked for me. And then I started adding it all over the place. So back to the teacher for one last time. It obviously didn't stop me from doing art. And who knows, maybe it even lit a fire under me and made me want to do it even more. So let me know your opinion. I chose purple for the background. And I told you before that brick red didn't lay down so nicely. Well, purple lays down really nicely. So I'm sure that the pigments have something to do with the way they interact with the wax. This is another layer on the dirt, and this is sepia. The first color that I used on the ground was actually gold. And then I decided to add a few little shadows underneath the rocks, and I wasn't really being that particular because at this point I just wanted to get it finished. It took longer than I thought. So I know there's many different types of ants, but I figured I was just going to make this guy a good old little black sugar ant. Along with the black, I used Periwinkle because I thought that it would make, or it would help make the ant look shiny. And I used it at the end too, and it really did work, kind of like the white pencils used when we use Prismacolors or Polychromos white over what we already laid down, and it did help blend it and did give it a nice effect. I never really got rid of the texture of the paper completely. I didn't even mind though. It was fun. I filled in his eyes with some black. They were starting to look a little washed out compared to the rest of the black. The black crayon is amazingly black. Ant legs are complicated. Ants altogether are complicated. At the end, I even added some little hairs all over his body because they have that. And here's the Periwinkle, which is a relatively light shade, but you could see how much it helped to blend the black when I went over the top with the Periwinkle. So I can't say this is a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination, but I can tell you these colors are vibrant. There's a ton of them, and that picture didn't come out half bad. It was really, really fun also. So I would have no problem recommending the box of 96 Crayola crayons that cost $5 because it's fun. Like I said, there's a ton of colors, and they kind of smell also like your childhood. So, you know what? I feel like coloring should be fun anyway. So The new box is a little crazy looking, these guys. But yeah, great colors, great fun. So yeah, I would give the Crayola 96 crayons a thumbs up for sure. And if you're already coloring, and maybe you have grandchildren or you have nieces or nephews or even kids of your own, so much fun. So that's it for the day. I want to thank you for joining me for this little weird experiment. I hope that you liked it. If you did, either give me a thumbs up or tell me or subscribe. Let me know what you think, or if you'd like to see more experiments like this. So that's it for now. I hope you do subscribe to me or find me on Facebook and join my coloring gallery, because I'd love to see what you do also. So that's it, and I will see you soon. Thank you again for joining me, and bye.